Hi farmmates, it's Shay and I've decided to create this series for first year to third year students out there who are having difficulties with their pharmacy subjects or if you just want to have some bit of introduction on some concepts. Welcome to PHAno Toh, a series wherein I will be providing you basic concepts and understanding on your pharmacy subjects that may be a little bit difficult for you. This series is not a prof to student kind of tutorial but more of a peer-to-peer type of study session. So imagine niyo na lang na kaklase niyo ako on this series. This will contain tips and sample questions and I assure you guys, papadaliin ko yung buhay niyo. Char, sana nga. Ayun lang guys, so ano pa nga bang hinihintay natin? Let's go! So for our first episode, magpo-focus tayo sa mathematical side ng pharmacy. Because akala kasi ng mga students, puro chemistry lang and pag-memorize lang ng mga gamot ang need aralin sa pharma. Pero guys, scam yon. On this video, tuturo ko sa inyo yung mga foundation and basic concepts na kailangan sa pagko-compute. And then, sa succeeding mga videos, doon na lang yung mga specific na topics. Sa mundo ng pharma, dapat alam mo yung 5 basic concepts na ito. Ratio and proportion, percent, dimensional analysis, significant figures, and estimation. On this video, magpo-focus lang tayo sa first 3 topics, starting off with ratio and proportion. Kung napanood mo na yung video ko tungkol sa tips ko for first year students, binanggit ko doon na itong ratio and proportion ay very common talaga sa pagko-compute sa pharma. Ratio is defined as the relative amount of two quantities. Proportion, on the other hand naman, defines the equality of two ratios. There are 3 ways in order to write proportions. I prefer the last one because madali kong nakikriss-cross yung mga values whenever I compute. The letters A and D on this expression are called extremes, while B and C naman are called means. And in proportion, it always goes like this. The product of 2 extremes is equal to the product of 2 means. There are also 2 types of proportion. Meron tayong direct and indirect or inverse. So direct, if one quantity increases, the other quantity increases as well. Pero kung nag-decrease naman yung quantity na yon, nagdi-decrease din yung isa pang quantity na relative sa kanya. But with indirect or inverse, nandun na sa pangalan niya, if one quantity increases, the other decreases, and vice versa. So, saan nga ba ginagamit itong ratio and proportion? Well, actually, marami talaga siyang uses. You can use it to compute for dilution, concentration, for reducing and enlarging quantities. Let's have some few examples, guys, para naman ma-practice nyo rin yung pagka-compute for ratio and proportion. Feel free to pause this video if you want to answer the questions by yourself, or kung gusto nyo akong sabayan, sabayan nyo ako. So for the first question, we have a cough syrup contains 10 milligrams of dextromethorphan hydrobromide per 5 ml. How many milligrams of the drug are contained in a 120 milliliter container?
On this problem, we have 10 milligrams per 5 ml and the other value is 120 ml. Pinapahanap sa atin how many milligrams of the drug ang meron sa isang 120 ml container, which is depicted by X. Remember na kapag ratio and proportion, we are dealing with relative amount of quantities. This means that the value of milligrams found in the 120 ml container is relative to the amount of 10 milligrams per 5 ml already given to us. Do not also forget what proportion states. The product of 2 extremes is equal to the product of 2 means. Kaya ang gagawin nyo lang dito is to crisscross and multiply the extremes and the means. This results to the equation on the right. In order to get the value of X, we have to isolate it, which is why we have to divide both sides by 5 ml. Canceling the units and dividing the values given, we are then left with 240 milligrams. This means that in a 120 ml container, there is 240 milligrams of the drug. O diba madali lang? Let's try 3 more questions.
If an IV fluid delivers 15 milligrams of the drug per hour, how many milligrams are delivered per half minute?
In ratio and proportion, it's important that the units are also relative to each other. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-solve kung magkaiba sila ng units, like if you have an hour, you cannot do a computation if the relative amount to that is given in minutes. We all know that 1 hour is equivalent to 60 minutes. which is why in writing these values, we have 15 milligrams per 60 minutes, and we are given also a value of half a minute that is equivalent to 0.5 minutes. Again, just multiply the extremes and means and we will have this equation on the right. Isolate the x by dividing both sides by 60 minutes. Therefore, we have an answer of 0.125 milligrams.
Acyclovir suspension contains 200 milligrams of the drug in each 5 milliliters. How many milligrams of acyclovir are contained in a pint of suspension?
Again, we have to have similar units. It depends on you kung gusto nyo na by pints or by milliliters. For me, mas madali kasing mag-convert to milliliters. 1 pint is equivalent to 473 ml. Kaya kapag isusulat nyo ang equation na to, it should be like this. 200 milligrams per 5 ml, and on the other side, we have x over 473 ml. Multiply the extremes and means, we then have the equation on the right. Isolate the x by dividing both sides by 5 ml and cancelling the units. We therefore have 18,920 milligrams or 18.92 grams if the question wants us to find it in grams.
And for the last question, we have a solution of 10 milliliters contains 500 milligrams of the medication. It was diluted to produce a volume of 73 milliliters. How many milligrams of the medication does the diluted solution contain?
This question can be a little bit tricky for some kasi others would think that this is a direct type of proportion. But this is actually an indirect type. Indirect siya dahil it involves dilution. Kapag dilution kasi, the higher the volume of the solvent or diluent din kung tawagin, habang mababa ang solute, mas lower yung concentration. Kapag naman mababa ang volume ng solvent pero mataas ang amount ng solute, mas mataas ang concentration. If you're going to write this is how your equation should look like. 500 milligrams times 10 ml is equals to x times 73 ml. Just like what we did on the previous questions, isolate the x by dividing both sides by 73 ml. Canceling the units, we have an answer of 68.49 milligrams. Kung mapapansin ninyo, the value of x decreased when the volume increased.
O diba, basic lang. Dapat guys, masanay kayo sa mga gantong klase mga tanong at computations kasi minsan nakala nyo napakahirap ng tanong. Pero simpleng ratio and proportion lang pala talaga yung kailangan. And take it from me, ilang beses na akong naloko sa mga ganun. And since tapos na tayo on this portion, proceed naman tayo with percent. Percent or percentage is expressed as this sign, which simply means in 100. Maraming gamit ang percent pagdating sa calculations because it helps in defining the strength of a certain solution. It is also used in defining the accuracy of a method or procedure used, and it also helps in quantifying the parameters in a clinical study. Madali lang naman yung percent guys at alam kong sanay na kayo dyan, so rekta na tayo sa sample questions. If a 60-gram ointment contains 2.5 grams of the active ingredient, calculate the percent concentration of the active ingredient in the ointment.
When you are dealing with percent, hinahanap niya lang naman ang relative quantity in 100. You have the values 2.5 grams over 60 grams. In order to get the percent, just multiply it with 100, canceling the units, we therefore have 4.2%.
In a clinical trial, 5% of the 2,467 patients experienced adverse drug reactions from the drug. How many are those patients?
For this question, we have 2,467 patients. Just multiply this value with 5%, or you could convert it to its decimal form, which is 0.05. Multiplying the two values, we have an answer of 123.35. Guys, be mindful ha, walang tao in decimals, which is why sometimes the answers for these types of questions involving patients or numbers of people, depende sa trip ng prof nyo ha, are written in whole numbers. We therefore have 123 patients who experienced adverse reactions from the drug.
In a patient information leaflet of a drug, it states that 26 out of 2,103 patients experience headaches. Express it in percent and express it in decimals.
In finding the answer in decimal form, divide 26 by 2,103, leading us to an answer of 0.0124. Now, if you're going to get the percent form, just multiply our answer kanina with 100, therefore giving us an answer of 1.24%.
And last but not the least, meron tayong dimensional analysis, which is also known as factor analysis. Ginagamit talaga ito for the purpose of converting quantities and units. Grabe guys, nung high school ako, litong-lito talaga ako dito. And up until now, I guess, pero mas konti na lang compared noon. Madali lang talaga sa inyo to. Kaya let's proceed na kaagad sa sample questions. How many fluid ounces are there in 2.5 liters?
Sa dimensional analysis, alam mo dapat ang conversion ng bawat units. In this example, pinapahanap sa atin kung ilang fluid ounces ang meron sa isang 2.5 liters. This may depend on you. You could directly convert liters to fluid ounces, but what I usually do is to convert these values first into milliliters. For our conversion, 1 fluid ounce is equal to 29.57 ml, while 1,000 ml is equal to 1 liter. Noong first year kami guys, pinapamemorize sa amin yung conversion ng mga ounces, fluid ounces, pints, quarts, gallons to ml, and I think it is important for you to memorize and familiarize yourselves with such conversions. Solving for this question, we have 2.5 liters times 1,000 ml over 1 liter gives us the conversion of liters to milliliters. Next, i-multiply nyo naman ito with 1 fluid ounce over 29.57 ml. This naman is for us to convert ml to fluid ounces. Canceling the units, we have an answer of 84.55 fluid ounces. Let's practice more guys. The two following questions I'm going to show you ay examples sa mga sinusolve namin sa hospital and clinical pharmacy subjects namin.
A medication order calls 1,000 ml of a dextrose IV infusion to be administered over an 8-hour period. Using an IV administration set that delivers 10 drops per milliliter, how many drops per minute should be delivered?
The point of this question is for us to find how many drops per minute ang ide-deliver sa patient. Sinabi dito na merong order ng 1,000 ml ng dextrose administered in an 8-hour period. They are relative to each other, so we are going to write it like this. The answer requires us to have the time in minutes, kaya i-convert natin si 8 hours to minutes by putting 1 hour over 60 minutes on this solution. Next naman, the answer requires us to have the milliliters into drops. We have 1,000 ml of dextrose, and in order for us to convert it into drops, we have an administration set na gagamitin to deliver 10 drops per ml. We then write 10 drops per ml in the solution. Canceling the similar units on the numerator and denominator, we then have an answer of 20.8 drops or 21 drops per ml.
The dose of a drug is 0.05 milligrams for each kilogram of a patient's weight. The drug is available as an oral liquid containing 50 micrograms per 0.1 milliliter. Calculate the dose of the oral liquid in milliliters for a patient who weighs 132 pounds.
This question is for finding doses. We already have the following units converted. 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds and the 1 milligram is equal to 1,000 micrograms. First thing to do is to convert 132 pounds by multiplying it with 1 kilogram over 2.2 pounds. The purpose of converting pounds to kilograms is for us to get the dose of the drug, which is known to be 0.05 milligram per kilogram body weight. Kaya imumultiply natin ito with this dose. Right now, we already have the dose in milligrams. But the drug is only available as an oral liquid which contains 50 micrograms of the drug for every 0.1 ml, which is why we have to multiply our answer in milligrams with 1000 micrograms per 1 ml for us to get its equivalent amount in micrograms, and then multiply it with 0.1 ml over 50 micrograms for us to get the equivalent amount in ml. Canceling the similar units on the numerator and denominator, we have 6 milliliters, and this is the dose to be given for the patient.
Be careful lang guys if you're going to place the values and units kasi yun yung pinaka-common na reason as to why nagkakamali talaga yung mga students. And that's all guys! Thank you for bearing with me and I hope marami kayong natutunan sa video natin for today. If you want to master these methods, ito lang ang masasabi kong magic word sa inyo. Practice. I myself wasn't the best student when it comes to computations but here I am today, 4th year na. And a lot of times, minsan nalilito pa rin talaga ako. But I don't really need to be the best. You don't really need to be the best. What's important is, alam mo kung paano gamitin ang mga gantong natutunan sa mga sitwasyon kung saan ito pinaka-kailangan. So if you guys have any suggestions, recommendations for me to do, kindly comment on the comment section below. If you really like this video, then click like, share, and subscribe on this channel for more videos such as this. So till next time guys, bye!